Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 6, a woman is dead after a shooting that happened just before midnight in Durham. What we were able to learn from that scene at a gas station on Fayetteville Street.
And it's a chilly start, a mix of 30s and 40s as you're heading out the door. I'll show you what the rest of the mornings look like this week coming up. And more than 1 million voters have cast their ballots in our state so far. Now in the final 2 weeks before Election Day, the final push in North Carolina from both presidential campaigns. 2 weeks away from Election Day. Hard to believe. We will talk about all of that coming up. Thanks for joining us on your Monday. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for an HU.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, thanks for making us part of your routine here. Hope you had a nice weekend.
Yes,
it was
very
the
nice.
Bull City Race Fest. There were a couple thousand people showed up out there. It was a nice day to go for a run. And it is again this morning. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now.
Yeah, take a look at North Hills right now. Skies are clear. It's a beautiful start out there, but it is chilly, of course. 48 degrees right now in the Triangle. Our dew point's 45. That just means we have a nice dry air mass in place. Headed out to the State Fair. It's chilly this morning. By 9 o'clock, we'll hit 52 degrees. At lunchtime, 70. Our high this afternoon in the upper 70s. So it's going to feel lovely like it did over the weekend. But keep that jacket with you early or late because those temperatures will turn cool pretty quickly. We're tracking Oscar, which is now a tropical storm. Winds at 50 miles per hour, sitting over the eastern tip of Cuba, moving west at only 2 miles per hour. It does remain a tropical storm moving through the Bahamas and then stays off the coast of the United States. By the time it dissipates, we'll talk more about what we're looking at out in the tropics and elsewhere. Coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 6:01, if you're getting ready to head out this morning, right about now, you've got some good news for you. Nothing but green showing up on our sensors this morning in the Triangle and surrounding communities. Let's head outside and give you a live look at I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. If the Beltline is part of your morning commute, it's clear sailing in both directions. That's good news for you this morning. If you're heading out this morning, take us with you on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle. You also have a couple more options, 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
A story we've been following in the overnight hours for you. A woman is dead after a gas station shooting. It happened just before midnight in Durham. It was on Fayetteville Street, and WRAL's Laura Levine joins us now live from the Durham Police Department. Now, those police were there on that scene investigating for more than 5 hours this morning, Laura.
Jeff, and those investigators left the scene around 4:20 this morning. Now some of them are here at police headquarters going through the evidence and trying to determine some of the circumstances surrounding this shooting. As you're taking a look at video from the scene, this happened at the Citgo gas station in the parking lot where you can see investigators had the entire area blocked off with that crime scene tape. On the scene there, we saw forensics, we saw a mobile command unit set up, as well as the fire department. We know police initially got the call just before midnight, around 11:48. When they arrived there at the scene, they found a woman suffering from gunshot wounds. She was rushed to the hospital and she later died. Now this morning we are working to learn more about what led up to the shooting. We know police are still trying to work to determine the identity of this person as well. As soon as we get that information, we will be sure to update you. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Durham.
Your time is 6:03 this morning here in the WRAL Live Center. Good morning. And for all you parents who have children within the Northampton County School District, something to keep in mind right now. We just saw this post in the past hour that the schools will be operating on a 1 hour delay. Keep that in mind. And the reason being foggy conditions, according to the school district. I was curious myself to see what it looked like out there right now. So I just picked one camera area, Pleasant Hill particularly, and you can see where the lights are there. There is some foggy conditions that they're seeing out at that area. So keep that in mind if you plan to maybe arrange rides for your child or what have you. But again, a 1 hour delay for Northampton County schools.
All right, thanks, Chris. A woman is facing charges after a rear-end crash on I-40. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker around midnight. The crash happened in Johnston County near Clayton. Troopers say the woman was taken to the hospital. The other driver was not hurt. The woman is facing charges including DWI, reckless driving, and driving without a license. And more than 1 million North Carolinians have cast their vote for the 2024 presidential election. That's about 13% of voters. That's according to the State Board of Elections. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the John M. Brown Community Center in Apex. And Kelsey, both campaigns are hitting the campaign trail very hard this week, including here in North Carolina.
Michelle, they are, and this polling location here in Apex is historically one of the busiest early voting locations in Wake County, so we're expecting to see dozens of people here in the next few hours. We'll show you some video now of people waiting in long lines to cast their ballots last week. North Carolina voter turnout is higher this year. This year's early voter turnout during the first 3 days of in-person voting is up 2.4% from 2020. That's according to the State Board of Elections. This comes as the presidential candidates are honing in on North Carolina for their final days of the race. Former President Donald Trump will be in Greenville this afternoon. He will also make a stop in Concord for a faith leaders meeting. Then tomorrow he's stopping in Greensboro. Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff is making a stop in the Triangle tomorrow. Now, if you need help with coming up with your voting plan, just go to our website, WRAL.com, and search vote. There you can find our WRAL voter guide. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Apex.
This morning, Governor Roy Cooper and FEMA leaders are visiting a community care station in Asheville. They'll hold a news conference at 9:15 this morning on storm recovery. This comes a day after the White House announced a brand new program to hire community liaisons to help those people affected in those communities with their recovery and rebuilding efforts after Helene. The liaisons will communicate with FEMA and the people of Western North Carolina to ensure their needs are met.
This morning, Oscar is a tropical storm after making landfall on the northern coast of Cuba as a Category 1 hurricane. It made landfall last night in the province of Guantanamo near the city of Baracoa. The National Hurricane Center says it had wind speeds near 80 miles per hour at the time. Millions of Cubans entering day four without power after attempts to restore it failed. Water supply services are also out. Yesterday morning, people could be seen cooking on the streets with wood stoves and lining up to buy bread from the few bakeries able to open. It is unclear when the blackout will end.
Starting today, the State Highway Patrol is increasing traffic enforcement in school zones and at bus stops. Operation Stop Arm runs from 6 this morning through 5 p.m. Friday. The campaign coincides with National School Bus Safety Week, and it is designed to raise awareness and reduce incidents involving children. Passing a stopped school bus carries serious penalties, including fines up to $500, possible felony charges if someone is injured or killed.
Firefighters are trying to figure out the cause of this fire at Kinlaw's supermarket in Fayetteville. They are waiting until conditions are safe to do so. The locally owned grocery store went up in flames on Saturday night. Video from our WRAL breaking news tracker shows crews working to put out that fire. Firefighters were on the scene past 8 o'clock the next morning. WRAL will update you on air and online when we learn more.
Happening today, the State Fair, a North Carolina Century Farm reunion. It recognizes farms that are 100 years old or older and their contributions to the state's agricultural heritage. More than 2,000 people are expected to attend this reunion that happens every 4 years. It's happening at the Hunt Horse Complex, 10:30 this morning. If you make it out to the fair today, just come by and meet some familiar faces from the WRAL team. This morning, Ken Smith and meteorologist Anthony Baglione will be there from 10:30 to 11:30. And then Deborah Morgan and Dan Haggerty will be there from 1 to 2 p.m. this afternoon. You can look for us in our usual spot on the northeast side of Dorton Arena.
Friends and family gathered to honor UNC wide receiver Tylee Kraft. Kraft died in October after being diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer in 2022. Family, coaches, and teachers came together at his high school in Sumter, South Carolina for a celebration of life. UNC head coach Mac Brown says he outlived his original diagnosis with a purpose.
I mean, they said he should have been gone a long time ago. He had stage 4 cancer 2.5 years ago. And they're talking about months, and here's a guy who lived 2.5 years.
Brown says Kraft did not miss a meeting or practice, and he always had a smile on his face.
Pittsburgh Steelers have taken over first place in the AFC North after last night's game against the New York Jets. The Steelers downed the Jets 37-15, and former Wolfpack superstar Russell Wilson made his first start as quarterback for the Steelers after dealing with a calf injury for the first 6 weeks of the season. The Steelers are just ahead of the Baltimore Ravens in their division. They scored 31 unanswered points to win that game last night. And the Ravens have a chance to tie that lead with the Steelers again tonight when they play Tampa Bay. That game starts 8:15. You can watch it on ESPN.
The company that supplies several grocers with generics are recalling frozen waffles. What you need to know about a possible listeria outbreak in the freezers of major chains like Aldi, Food Lion, Walmart, and Target.
Plus an overtime win for the New York Liberty in last night's WNBA championship game. What this was for the first ever title, what it means to their team.
And the 7-day forecast is going to be a bit up and down with our temperatures. I'll show you why we often have a roller coaster ride with our temperatures at this time of year.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
612, we take a live look this morning at RDU. Our skies are clear. It's really pretty out there. A lot of folks will be grabbing a jacket or a coat this morning heading out the door. It's chilly. Temperatures are in the mid 40s in the Triangle. We do have some upper 30s that are up in the northern part of the viewing area right now. So at the bus stop, lots of kids probably in their jackets, but they'll want to shed them later this afternoon. By lunchtime, 70 degrees, and we'll see a high of 77 degrees as the kids are getting off the bus. After that, temperatures will be pretty mild through the evening, even 6 o'clock looking at around 71 degrees. It's a dry forecast all the way through the weekend, and so that would be the first completely dry North Carolina State Fair in a good number of years. I'll show you how long it's been coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, weather and traffic every 10 minutes. I want to start outside, give you a live look at I-40 and Wade Avenue. Traffic has definitely picked up, but flowing nicely in both directions. If you're listening to us on the radio, all the major routes are delay-free right now. Do so if you're going out right now at 101.5 HD3. You have a couple more options if you don't have that option. There's 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Diddy is facing a new wave of sexual assault and rape accusations. NBC News reports 5 new civil lawsuits were filed yesterday in New York by the same attorney who filed 6 other suits against Diddy last week. Lawsuits include allegations the music mogul assaulted or raped the plaintiffs in separate incidents from 2000 to 2022. 2 of the plaintiffs are men, 3 are women, including a woman who claims Diddy raped her when she was 13 years old. The suits also accuse Diddy of drugging one of the men and 3 women.
New this morning, 4 people have died, including a child, in a helicopter crash in Texas. This happened just before 9 o'clock hour time in downtown Houston. Officials say the helicopter crashed into a radio tower. All 4 people on the helicopter, including a child, died in that crash. Their names and ages have not been released. The chopper was a private aircraft coming from Ellington Airport in Houston. It's not clear where it was going.
1 person is dead after a plane crashed during an air and space show in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Officials say the plane crashed about a half-mile away from that airport yesterday afternoon while performing in the air show. The rest of the show was canceled after that plane went down. A National Transportation Safety Board investigator is expected to arrive today to work on that investigation.
The U.S. Postal Service and a carriers union have reached a potential new deal. The tentative agreement covers from 2023 until 2026, giving cost of living adjustments and 3% raises of nearly 1.5%. 2 of the raises will be applied retroactively once the agreement is ratified by the carriers union. And the Postal Service says the new agreement is part of its 10-year mission to modernize and improve customer needs.
Check your freezers this morning. Some frozen waffles are being recalled for possible listeria contamination. Food processing company Treehouse Foods is pulling hundreds of frozen waffles from its shelves. The company is recalling more than 500 varieties of its frozen waffles sold at major chains like Aldi, Food Lion, Walmart, and Target. Many of those stores sell the waffles under their own store brand names, so people should consider throwing out those recalled products.
Excitement for the first time in franchise history. The New York Liberty has won their first WNBA championship. They defeated the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 last night in an overtime thriller, winning the series in 5 games. The Liberty's Brianna Stewart scored 2 free throws with just seconds to go. congratulations on an incredible season. And East Carolina looking for a new head coach after firing Mike Houston after 5 seasons. Athletic Director John Gilbert made the announcement yesterday. That comes just one day after the Pirates lost to number 23 Army 45-28. Defensive coordinator Blake Harrell will be interim coach for the rest of the season.
Biltmore Estate plans to reopen for guests in time for the holidays. This is great news. Beginning November 2nd, you will be able to visit the estate for Christmas at Biltmore. In a post to Facebook, they said welcoming guests back to the estate provides critical support to our community, and we hope to welcome you very soon. That's certainly good to hear. 6:17 right now on our Monday morning. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. No matter where we look around town, it's chilly, but another great one full of sunshine on the way.
Yeah, such a pretty day ahead. It's a pretty morning out there, too. Skies are clear. Temperatures are nice and brisk and refreshing. Taking a live look at Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, and Chapel Hill. All clear. Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill restaurant. We check out satellite and radar. The dry conditions that we're seeing are thanks to this high pressure system. And high pressure systems can also block systems that are headed our way. There's a front that's well back to the west. We will see one eventually swinging through on Thursday, but it is likely to be a dry front as it comes through. The reason that we watch out for where high pressure systems are is we tend to see sinking air. That sinking air tends to dry out the atmosphere. Sometimes it also means warmer air, especially this time of year, but sometimes we'll have an Arctic high that develops in the winter and moves in. Remember those really cold, clear days? Sometimes that's due to an Arctic high. But this is obviously not an Arctic high that we're dealing with right now. Let's take a look at this high, and this one's going to be moving off the next couple of days. We'll have a quick trough that rolls through associated with that low, but that low is so far to our north that there won't be any rain associated with it. And then we'll see a second high that moves in and hangs out with us toward the end of the week, and that will usher in some slightly cooler temperatures. With all these high pressure systems moving through our watering forecast, we have no rain in our forecast, so you may have to get out and water a little bit. I noticed my grass is starting to look a little bit dry, but it's going to be perfect weather for the State Fair. 78 for today and tomorrow, 80 degrees on Wednesday. Beautiful sunshine, low humidity, just phenomenal. And right now, it looks like we are on track to be dry the entire State Fair. When is the last time that happened? Well, not that far back, just 8 years ago, 2016. Those days were October 13th through the 23rd, and that's the last time we were dry for the whole run of the State Fair. Checking out the tropics, Nadine, which was over here, over in the Yucatan Peninsula, has fizzled out. We're still watching Oscar. It made landfall on the eastern tip of Cuba, but we're not expecting any impacts here in the United States. Right now, Oscar has winds at 50 miles per hour, but it was a hurricane over the weekend. It's moving very slowly right now, but remains a tropical storm moving out into the Atlantic and dissipating. It's likely to move away from us because of Thursday's front. As that front comes through, that will help to block that storm from getting any closer to us. We do have a bit of a roller coaster ride in our forecast. We're going to go from a high of 80 on Wednesday to a high of 71 on Friday. We'll talk about how common it is to have such big temperature swings this time of year. Coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 6:19. Boy, if you're getting ready to head out, some good news in Wake County. I-440, the Beltline 540, all free and clear. Taking a closer look at Durham, Chapel Hill, Hillsborough, all those major routes are delay-free. 85, 885. And speaking of I-885, here's a live look at I-885 and Cornwallis Road. Traffic is definitely picking up, but moving nicely in both directions. Listen, traffic is constantly changing. If you're heading out this morning, take us with you on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle, or you can tune in us at 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
All right, thanks, Ken. Major traffic trouble for drivers in West Raleigh. The Lenovo Center's response to criticism over its choice to host a big concert during the State Fair.
And free mammograms are being offered at Wake Med starting today. How to find that mobile mammography bus for potentially life-saving screenings.
And ahead this morning on Today, the New York Jets' Quantez Stiggers shares his unusual and inspiring journey to the NFL. He was drafted without ever playing college football.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
The New York Liberty are WNBA champions.
Didn't come easy, though. They certainly put Spike Lee, for one, along with the rest of their fans, through a whole range of emotions. Ken Smith here now with What's Trending. Ken.
Michelle and Jeff, we could all relate, right? The Minnesota Lynx put up quite a fight, sending the game into overtime before New York eventually took the win. Now, during the overtime, cameras caught Lee, a Liberty fan, of course, going through a lot of anxiety. God bless him.
Brought him to his knees this game, you know. He's a diehard New York fan, you know. You see him at Knicks games all the time. So I thought it was great to see him at the Liberty game. They've been in the WNBA. This was shocking to me. 27 years.
Wow.
It's been, that's their first title.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
That actually surprised me.
Right, 27 years, right?
Yeah. Hey, Jennifer Lawrence trending this morning. Her family is growing. Vogue sharing the news with this Instagram post showing the actress rocking the beginning of a baby bump. This will be her second child with her husband, Cook Maroney.
Yeah, she has an adorable son, Cy. He's 2 years old, and she did an interview with Vogue a little bit after she had her first child, and she said that she felt like her entire life just started over after having her baby. And I mean, you two can attest. You guys have kids. Did your life start over after you had your kids?
It was it was a phase that you never knew what to expect, and then there it was.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take some advice from the two.
Never been happier.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's that thing that you didn't know you were missing from your life.
Exactly.
Now you have it.
I love it.
How about this? Michelle, you can help us with this. The new horror sequel topped the weekend box office. Smile 2 is the new #1. It opened with $23 million, almost exactly the same debut total as the 2022 original. Wild Robot remained in second place, passing the $100 million mark domestically. After one weekend on top, Terrifier 3 fell to third place. Beetlejuice, and We Live in Time rounded out the top 5.
And grab a jacket or a coat heading out the door this morning. 30s and 40s on the map. I'll show you when we'll see some ups and downs with our temperatures coming up.
And we are staying on top of breaking news in Durham. A woman was killed in a shooting at a gas station. What police tell us about this investigation.
Also, while you were sleeping, Los Angeles was in full-on celebration mode. How fans are reacting after the Dodgers punched their ticket to the World Series.